Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I wanted to record this next video on a topic I am very excited about, and one of the things I'm most passionate about, because I think a lot of people undershoot themselves in this regard and therefore don't end up with the outcomes in life that they would like. And really, what it boils down to is you are not spending your time wisely, nor are you spending enough time, period. And this is definitely going to be a video geared a little bit more towards that early mid-career younger professional. I would say ages 15 to 30, but it could definitely appeal to everybody. It's really just, can you make what I'm about to say work for yourself? And the more responsibilities, the more obligations that you have, that is where this is going to become harder and harder. And in terms of what I mean here is obligations to other people. That is really what I mean. So especially when you are married or with kids, these sorts of things that, or again, if you're, maybe obligations to volunteering or other families, things like that, it's going to be much harder. So kind of the lesser responsibilities you have, the easier this will be to accomplish. But it doesn't mean that it's impossible, especially if you have people around you that can help to alleviate those obligations. Again, if you are a parent and you can kind of work something out with your spouse to split these things up or spend time elsewhere in order to try to move overall your life forward, great. So what I want to talk about here is something that I do within my early career new grad development program, where I think I mentioned in the previous video that people should be trying to discover what the red line is. What are you capable of in terms of time, effort, energy, and input? Like, figure out where you reach the maximum gas tank output and you're toast. You're done. I then say take that to about 90%, and that's what you can sustain if you have good exercise, diet, and sleep. Those three are the core foundation to anything you do in life. If you're not doing any of those, or if you're not doing any of those, you're SOL. If you're doing one of those, still probably SOL. 2 out of 3, you could be decent, but 3 out of 3 is really where you're going to be able to actually sustain that 90% red line. And so even though you're taking time away to do all three of those things effectively, I promise you'll still come out on top. But what I wanted to talk about here was time investment for young to mid professionals and even older ones. Like I said, but I'm primarily gearing it towards this audience because that is who I've had to have this conversation with the most throughout my client history. And it's just one of the key pillars in, like I said, my early graduate program. So going back to the diet, health, and sleep, good sleep is 6 to 8 hours a day. Now, there's a little bit of scientific literature that's saying it could go anywhere within that range. You kind of need to figure out what yours is. I think it technically is from 6 to 9. So there might be a little bit of experimentation there. And if you are somebody that is very dedicated, you could also use something like an Oura Ring or a Whoop or a wearable or a Fitbit, those sorts of things to help figure out what actual sleep cycle is helping you the best. So if you have the ability and are willing to go that data route, great. If not, do some experimentation over a month. Take 1 week and do 6 hours, one do 7, one do 8, one do 9, and just kind of see which week you feel the best consistently, and go from there. So now we get into a little bit more meat and potatoes. Once you figure out what your sleep is capable of, every other minute spend investing into something productive, into something moving it forward, into whatever the buckets are that you are trying to move forward for that impact on your life. Every other minute. Now, you're going to have some personal time in this regardless, right? You're still going to have to eat. I'm going to lump these into you. So you're going to have some biological functions. You're also going to have potentially some relationships and things like that. But so you're really, even if you take the average of 8 hours of sleep is where most people are going to fall, probably give or take, then you're left with 16 hours a day. You're still probably going to be cut down to somewhere between 13 and 14. And that's okay. So now what we're trying to do is make sure that those 13 or 14 hours, we are now maximizing. You are putting into everything. And this is not to say that you should be working these 13 to 14 hours, just as I'm not saying you should be working at 16 hours that you're awake. The 16 hours you're awake should be covering fitness, should be covering nutrition, should be covering family, career, skills, introspection, development, all of it. The question is, if we go back to the previous video, which I will link in the description, you can only be the GOAT at one thing. So if you don't want to be the GOAT at something, but you still want to be great, then you can maybe do 3 or 5 things. And if you want to be, if you want to maybe do 7, 10, 12, 15, 20 different things in your life that you want to be working on simultaneously, you're running the risk of it not being possible to be great at all. Because again, you only have this so much time. So I'm not advocating for working 16 hours a day. I'm advocating for being productive 16 hours a day. 2 very different concepts. And this is something I do with my clients. Now, the other ticker that some of you are not going to like is to do this 6 days a week. This is why I say figure out what your red line is, come back to 90%, and sustain. If you can do that, now, if you look at most people's schedule, the amount of time that people spend on social media, the amount of time people are spending watching Netflix or Hulu or playing video games, you're talking 1, 2, 4, 6 hours a day. So if you can eliminate or minimize that stuff from your life to at least a very, very, very small degree, especially if you leave one day a week to do all of that, right? I mean, if you really think about it, if you are on social media, Netflix, and these sorts of things 4 hours a day, and you have that 5 days, that's 20 hours. Well, you just took one day to just do it all. You're getting 16. Still pretty decent. It's actually an improvement. You're technically reducing a little bit, but you're kind of just condensing it all into one day. And that could be your myriad of fun things. It could be going outside. It could be spending more time with your spouse and family, whatever it is. But I'm advocating for doing this 6 hours a day because you will be shocked at how much you will blow past your competition in every aspect of life, whatever it is that you want to do. If you are round the clock productive on those 6 days for 16 hours a day. Again, if you look at most people, and they're probably wasting 4 hours of their 16. So we just did the math to say, hey, you can almost replace that on Sunday. But if you have 4 hours a day that you're more productive than the average person across 5 days a week, that's 20 more hours of productivity. And then you have a whole other day because you're doing a 6th day. So you have 36 hours of productivity that the average person isn't doing. You will blow the competition out of the water. Take that over a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. And again, this isn't saying that you are working 16 hours a day for 6 days a week. If I give you my schedule, give or take, it's fairly consistent, but I'm not time blocked to the degree of this exact minute is when I need to do everything, but my order of operations on any given day is the same. I don't have a huge, crazy morning routine. We'll get into that in another video. I think morning routines are fallacies, really. I have tried many, and really the best morning routine is just get up, wake up, whatever that looks like for you. And for me, what I try to do is, well, I say try because there's a little bit of leeway here, but wake up every day, figure out if it's good weather or bad weather. If it's good weather that day, that morning, I go walk outside for 15 minutes. If it's bad weather, I read a chapter of a book. Then from there, I work in what I call, or not what I call, they're just known as Pomodoro cycles. I do them in 53 minutes of work, 17 minutes break. I believe they did a study where it was 53 and 16 was the actually most efficient for the average human person, the average human brain. The only reason I do 53 and 17 is because I didn't like having 69 as my number of total minutes for a Pomodoro. I wanted 70 because that went into hours of the day much better. And what I will do then is right after doing my reading or reading or walking outside, then what I will do is then pull my 2 or 3 tasks, my highest leverage tasks for the day, and then I will start my Pomodoro cycles immediately after that. Typically around somewhere between 10 to 12 in the morning. I will then work out. That's usually my lunch break because I can work out 45 minutes, get food, eat, get back to work on what I'm doing or within that kind of 1 hour time frame. And then just continue cycling Pomodoros throughout the day. And my breaks are true breaks. They are fully disconnecting. If you really want to know more about the Pomodoro method and ways you can leverage in your life and different options, let me know in the comments. And I could definitely do a separate video on that. But getting back to kind of my schedule. And then once my Pomodoros are done around dinner time, I do dinner. I cook every night. That's a little bit of way for me to woosah a bit, as I like to say. And that's my only true art form in my life, if you will. So I cook every night. I might do another 1 or 2 Pomodoro cycles, and then I'm in bed around 11, so I could wake up at 7 again the next day. And I do that Monday through Saturday, and then Sunday is what I call Sunday Fun Day. It's that simple. So I'm either going outside, spending more time with my wife, or researching different travel things, whatever it might be. Sunday is meant to be that. It is meant to be the fun day of the week. Earned it for the other ones. This is my day off. Now, at the same time, I'm not ultra rigid in the sense of it always has to be Sunday. Maybe for whatever reason, there's something that can only be done on Sunday, whether that be a housing project or maybe some client work I have to do or something along these lines, then okay, fine. Then I'll take Saturday. Saturday will be my fun day. And then the next week will just be a Sunday to Saturday equation. So I'll have a little bit more days in a row, but so be it. And the other thing that I really started to do as well was bucketize my time. So I know how many hours I'm investing my time into each thing. And the ratio of my life and my progression is exactly how I want it to be. And so it's one of those things where when you really start get going on this and you start seeing the improvement and feeling the improvement and living the improvement of every day of your life, I know the cliche mantra of 1% better a day equals 365% better at the end of the year. Like, it's technically more because you have compounding. I think it's significantly more than 365%. But if we just went with the cliche mantra of 365%, when you really start feeling that, for me, like, fitness is an easy one for this. When I actually am continuously within the same week for months on end, getting stronger, getting more fit, losing weight, building muscle. When it comes to my career, when I am learning new skills, I'm getting better with AI, I'm getting better with automation, I'm moving technology forward. When it comes to the entrepreneurship side, and I am growing the business, I'm generating leads, I'm closing more sales, whatever it might be. I'm learning marketing right now. Like, that's a big thing that I'm diving into to fill that gap. And you actually continue to see the results just day after day after day, it's hard not to come back. It's hard not to repeat. And you learn that this is so easily sustainable, way more than you think. And we are brainwashed. I was a victim of it, into work-life balance and burnout this and burnout that. And honestly, that is for people who, in my opinion, who have not figured out what their limit is. Because even the people that are espousing, like I said, burnout or work-life balance, they're spending their time into things to try to get better at them. Like, even people who are like, like, there's a reason that I play, video games for 8 hours a week, is because it relaxes me. But those same people don't want to be bad at the video games. So they're quote unquote burnt out or seeking work-life balance, but they're just choosing to work on something else that's taking it away. So where the video game is not necessarily productive, the question to ask yourself is, okay, well, I clearly have the energy. I clearly have the bandwidth. I have the focus. I have the mind. Where can this go instead? Where can this go so that if I want to play video games all day, every day, I can? How do I get there faster? How do I get to retirement faster? How do I take care of my family faster? Right? That's the thing, is most people don't realize they're already doing it. They're just choosing to invest the resources into the wrong thing. And so while on the surface, what I'm saying of be productive 16 hours a day, 6 days a week sounds radical, it's really not. I'm just telling you to analyze where your 16 hours are going and shift them into the 1, 3, 5, 10, 20 different productive things that you want consistently. Because that's the other thing is, and this doesn't mean every day. Because again, if you have 20 things in life that you want to be great at, you're not going to hit all 20 every day. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday are dedicated to these, 8. And, Tuesday, Thursday are dedicated to these 8. And then Saturday is all these 4. Whatever it is, like, you can chop it up, whatever that looks like. But if you gear it towards the productivity, you will get the result out of life you want. You will be able to take care of your family. You will see the progression that you want. You will be the better mom, the better father, the better husband, the better wife, the better professional, whatever it is. And this has been something that with the young professionals I've worked with, the early grads, even the non-graduates, coming straight out of high school, these are the people that adopt this kill the game. One of my best friends of all time. Um, I remember it was a very, very funny moment. He was 2 years out of college, electrical engineering degree, and he and I are, gaming one night, and he just goes, "Is it just me, or is it so easy to win in the workplace?" And I just laugh. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm someone who I didn't go to college. So by that time, I'd been in the workforce for about 7 years out of adulthood. And I just laughed. And I'm like, oh no, most people have no idea what they're capable of, which in turn means they don't know how much they can invest. And if you want to add the ultra layer on this at all, they don't even know how to work. So even if they did invest 8, 10, 12, all 16 hours a day into something, they don't even know how to effectively. I'm like, it's so easy to win, and you will just blow past your competition. And so I had seen it. I was consistently the youngest guy in the room throughout, all of my 20s. I escalated my career path in technology very quickly. I was an engineer in 4 years with no degree and one certification. That was, baseline low level certification. I got six figures in those same 4 years. This was back in 2014, 2013 is when I got six figures for the first time. Like it's so quick. And then we have a college graduate who's most people are angry about college because they come out six figures in debt. They come out making 20 bucks an hour or 50K a year, something like that. And they're like, what? I just went to school. I just got 4 years of experience, this and that. And he's coming out and in 2 years making 60, 70. And then I think in year three is when he got 80 or 90. And then after that is when we did, he and I went through a huge negotiation practice, and we got him up. We increased his salary by almost 40% in a single year. So, I mean, in a matter of 4 or 5 years, he over doubled his compensation. It's so easy. And I've done this with so many clients, and the earlier you can adopt this, the better. So if you like this video, please like, subscribe, comment below. I appreciate you checking out the promoted channel, and I will always interact with your comments. I will always respond. And so let me know either things on the video that you like, things you dislike, and any potential topics that you want to see moving forward. As a new channel, I appreciate all of this, and together we will build a community of excellence that we desire. Thank you. Till next time.